Ah, the fascinating world of a psychiatric diagnosis. Grab yourself a cuppa and let's delve into it, shall we? To begin with, a psychiatric diagnosis is essentially a label given to a set of symptoms that tend to occur together. Think of it like a recipe book. When you see a recipe for a Victoria sponge, you know it involves flour, eggs, sugar, and so on. Similarly, when a psychiatrist diagnoses something like depression, it means the person is experiencing a specific set of symptoms such as persistent sadness, lack of interest in activities, and fatigue. Now, getting diagnosed can be a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can be a tremendous relief. Imagine you've been feeling unwell, but don't know why. Then someone tells you, you have the flu. Suddenly, it all makes sense, and you know what steps to take next. A psychiatric diagnosis can work much the same way. It can provide clarity and open up avenues for treatment. However, it can also feel like a weighty label. Some folks might start to feel defined by their diagnosis, almost as if they're wearing a name tag that reads bipolar or anxiety disorder. This can sometimes lead to a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, where people start to behave in ways that fit the diagnosis rather than seeing it as just one part of who they are. Now, the way people react to a diagnosis can vary widely. Some might feel empowered, thinking, right, now I know what I'm dealing with, let's crack on with the treatment. Others might feel a sense of stigma, almost as if they've been given a scarlet letter. This can affect their relationships, work, and overall quality of life. For instance, a person diagnosed with ADHD might find it easier to explain why they struggle with focus or organisation. They can seek accommodations at work or school, and life becomes a bit more manageable. On the flip side, someone else might feel embarrassed or worried about how others perceive them, leading to social withdrawal or reluctance to seek help. Society's view on psychiatric diagnoses has evolved, but still has a way to go. In the olden days, people with mental health issues were often hidden away or treated as outcasts. Thankfully, we're moving towards a more inclusive society, but stigmas still exist. For example, in the workplace, someone might hesitate to tell their boss about their anxiety disorder for fear of being seen as weak or unreliable. On the other hand, there are also increasing movements to promote mental health awareness, like Mental Health Awareness Week, which aim to normalise conversations around these issues. Imagine your brain is a bit like a car engine. When everything's running smoothly, you're good to go. But sometimes, things can go a bit wonky. Maybe the oil needs changing, or a spark plug is misfiring. A psychiatric diagnosis is like a mechanic telling you what's off. Once you know the issue, you can take the necessary steps to fix it. But just like with cars, some people might feel embarrassed about having a problem in the first place, even though it's completely normal. Or think of it like having a map for a treasure hunt. Before the diagnosis, you're wandering around unsure of where to go. Once you have that diagnosis, it's like being handed a map. You still have to do the work to find the treasure, for example, treatment and management, but at least you know where you're headed. So there you have it. A psychiatric diagnosis is a mixed bag. It can bring clarity and direction for treatment, but also carry a bit of a societal burden. The key is to remember that a diagnosis is just one part of the puzzle. It doesn't define the whole person, much like how a single ingredient doesn't define an entire dish. And remember, it's perfectly okay to seek help and talk about these things. After all, we're all just trying to navigate this complex, beautiful, sometimes messy thing called life.